Hello again, Year 6. So today we're going to look again at miles to kilometres. I thought we could do with a second session on this because I think it's a rather tricky concept. Once you've understood what you need to do to convert between miles and kilometres, then it's easy. But I think it's just a hard concept to get your minds around. So don't worry if you are still struggling with this. So first of all then, let's just have a look at this question, just to get our minds working. So it says, tick the statements that would show a measurement you would record in miles. So it says statements, it's got an S on the end, okay, which means there could be more than one. So we've got the distance from London to Birmingham, the length of a football pitch, the length of the Amazon River, and the length of your school field. So just have a think about it. What would you measure in miles? So you could measure the distance from London to Birmingham in miles and also the length of the Amazon River. Well done if you got those correct. So remind me then, approximately how many kilometres are there in 5 miles? So this is what we were looking at yesterday. So it's our miles to kilometres approximation. Have a think. Well done if you said 8 kilometres. So 5 miles are approximately 8 kilometres. Have a look at this one. Are these statements always, sometimes, or never true? A mile is longer than a kilometre. The distance between some places are measured in miles, others are measured in kilometres. And 12 kilometres is a distance between 7 to 8 miles. So we can do A really easily, can't we? Because we know that 5 miles are approximately 8 kilometres. Okay, so we know then that 1 mile is approximately 1.6 kilometres, don't we? Yeah, because we've divided them both by 5 to get 1 mile and 1.6 kilometres. So if we have a look then, we've got 1 mile and we've got 1.6 kilometres. So this is saying that a mile is longer than the kilometre. But if we have a look, we can see that we've got more kilometres to miles, haven't we? So it would be the other way around. A kilometre is longer than a mile. So the answer to this one would be never. The distances between some places are measured in miles, others are measured in kilometres. So, as I've said, if you are going running, for example, some running routes are measured in kilometres, like 10k, for example, but others are measured in miles. For example, a marathon is 26.2 miles. So I would say that that is sometimes. 12 kilometres is a distance between 7 and 8 miles. So we know that 5 miles is approximately 8 kilometres. We know that 1 mile is 1.6 kilometres. So that answer would be always. So A is never, B is sometimes, and C is always. So how would I convert these kilometres to miles then? So we've got 5 miles is approximately 8 kilometres. So have a think, how would I convert them to miles? Pause the video and have a go. Okay, so let's have a look then. So if I'm converting from kilometres to miles, I would divide by 8 and then multiply by 5. Okay? If I was converting from miles to kilometres, I would divide by 5 and then multiply by 8. Okay? So I'm looking at kilometres to miles. So I'm going to be using this one. Okay? So if I know my times tables, this one should be rather easy. So I can do 48 divided by 8, which would be 6. And then I would multiply my 6 by 5, which would be 30 miles. Let's have a look at 40 then. So you've got 40 divided by 8, which is 5. 5 multiplied by 5 is 25. And then the last one, 56 divided by 8 is 7. Multiplied by 5 is 35. So remember, if you're dividing by 8 and multiplying by 5, you're going from kilometres to miles. And if you're dividing by 5 and multiplying by 8, you're going from miles to kilometres. Okay? Let's have a look at the next one. So, Team Road Racer and Team Tornado are competing in a long-distance car rally. Each driver has recorded their distances so far. So our first task is to convert each distance to the alternative unit. So remember, miles to kilometres, you would divide by 5, and then multiply by 8. And kilometres to miles, you would divide by 8 and then multiply by 5. Okay, so what you need to do now is you need to convert these kilometres to miles and then convert these miles to kilometres. And then question B says, approximately how far has Team Road Racer driven so far? Give your answer in miles. So you would add all of these up from the miles that you converted it just to get your answer. Okay? Pause the video now and have a go. So then, this is my answer. So I've worked out Team Road Racer first. Rod has driven 960 kilometres, which is approximately 600 miles. Rachel has driven 1,120 kilometres, which is approximately 700 miles. And Rorid has driven 2,080 kilometres, which is approximately 1,300 miles. On Team Tornado, Todd has driven 790 miles, which is approximately 1,264 kilometres. Trish has driven 1,055 miles, which is approximately 1,688 kilometres. And Tori has driven 1,245 miles, which is approximately 1,992 kilometres. Okay, so if we have a look at the second one then, approximately how far has Team Road Racer driven so far? Give your answer in miles. So I'm going to look at my miles here. I'm going to add them up. So I've got 600, add 700, add 1,300, which equals 2,600 miles. Have a look at your answers. See if they match mine. Well done if you got that correct. Hope you're feeling a little bit more confident, but we've got a bit more to go in case you're not. Let's have a look at this one. Ron and Annie are running a 5-mile race. I have run 6.4 kilometres so far, said Annie. I have run 3.8 miles so far, said Ron. Who has the furthest left to run? So you're not wanting to know who's run the furthest, you want to know who has still got the most left to run. Okay, so you've got two different units of measure here. So the first thing you are going to have to do is convert. So remember, if you are going miles to kilometres, you could divide by 5 and then multiply by 8. If you are doing kilometres to miles, you could divide by 8 and then multiply by 5. Also remember your conversion that 5 miles is approximately 8 kilometres. Okay, so the first thing you need to do is convert. They've got a 5-mile race to do, so you're going to have to subtract how far they've run first of all from 5 miles. And then you're going to have to work out who has got the furthest left to run. So who has run the least? Pause the video now and have a go. Let's have a look at the answers then. So 5 miles is approximately 8 kilometres. So Annie has run 6.4 kilometres, which is approximately 4 miles. So I'm converting to miles. Ron has run 3.8 miles. So I can see that Annie has run more miles than Ron because she has run 4 and he has run 3.8. So in my answer, I'm going to write Annie has 1 mile left to run, okay, because she's got to get to 5 miles, so she's only got 1 mile left. And Ron has 1.2 miles left, therefore Ron has to go further, okay, because he's only run 3.8, so he's got 1.2 miles left to run to get to 5 miles, which means that he has run the least, therefore he has got the furthest left to run. Well done if you got that one correct. Let's have a look at this one then. So we're back to Team Road Racer and Team Tornado. We don't have to do this bit again because we've already done it. So the question is, approximately how much further than Team Road Racer has Team Tornado driven so far? Give your answer in kilometres. So it wants to know how much further Team Tornado has driven. So Team Tornado has driven the furthest. How much further have they driven? And remember, your answer needs to be in kilometres. So what I would do, I would add up all of my kilometres separately. So I'd add up how many kilometres Team Road Racer had done and how many kilometres Team Tornado had done. Then you need to work out the difference between them to work out how much further Team Tornado has driven. Pause the video now and have a go. Let's have a look at the answer then. So just to remind ourselves what the conversions are, I've put them there again. So Team Road Racer then have driven 4,160 kilometres. So I've added all of those up and it's 4,160. Team Tornado have driven 4,944 kilometres. So I've added all of these ones up. So as we can see, we've added those up correctly because Team Tornado have driven further. So now what I need to do is I need to find the difference. So I'm going to do 4,944 minus 4,160, which is 794. So that means that Team Tornado have driven 784 kilometres further. Please make sure when you are writing your answers that you do write a sentence at the bottom so that your answer is clear. Well done if you got that one correct. Let's have a look at this one then. We've not got many more to do now, so well done if you're feeling more confident. If not, don't panic, we've still got a few more. So Mo cycles 45 miles over the course of 3 days. So this is similar to the one that we did yesterday with the 4 days. On day 1, he cycles 16 kilometres. On day 2, he cycles 10 miles further than he did on day 1. How far does he cycle on day 3? Give your answer in miles and in kilometres. So Mo cycles 45 miles altogether. So we're going to underline our important information first. And he took 3 days to do it. It took 3 days to cycle 45 miles. So on day 1, he cycles 16 kilometres. So we're working in kilometres here. On day 2, he cycles 10 miles further. So here we are working in miles. So he cycles 10 miles further than he did on day 1. So how far does he cycle on day 3? So we've got day 1 and day 2. We want to know how far he cycles on day 3. And we want our answer in miles and in kilometres. Okay, so the first thing that you are probably going to have to do is you will have to convert. So what I would do, I think I would convert to miles first of all, because you've got 45 miles as your total and you've got 10 miles further here. So I would convert 16 kilometres into miles first of all. Then, once you've got your answer, you can then convert back to kilometres to give your answer in miles and kilometres. Pause the video now and have a go. So if we have a look at our answers then, we've got on day 1, he cycles 16 kilometres, which is 10 miles. On day 2, he cycles 10 miles further, so that must mean that he cycles 20 miles and that he cycles 32 kilometres, because if you double 16 you get 32 and double 10 you get 20. Okay, so then on day 3 he must cycle 15 miles or 24 kilometres. Okay, so 20 plus 10 is 30 miles, 45 minus 30 is 15 miles. So that's where we've got that from. Okay, because he's already cycled 30 miles altogether and we want 45 miles. So we would do 45 minus your 30 miles, which is 15 miles, and then convert that into kilometres. It's approximately 24 kilometres. Well done if you got that one correct. Let's have a look at this one then. So Team Warm Wheels are taking part in a 3,250 mile motorbike race. By the end of the third day, they had completed 1,800 kilometres. On day 4, Team Warm Wheels drove a further 600 kilometres. On each day that followed, they drove 40 kilometres further than the day before. How many days did it take Team Warm Wheels to complete the whole race? So let's break this down. So we're taking part in a 3,250 mile motorbike race. So by the end of day 3, they'd completed 1,800 kilometres. So already we've got the problem that we're working in both miles and kilometres, so we're going to have to convert. So on day 4, Team Warm Wheels drove a further 600 kilometres. And each day after that, they drove 40 kilometres further than the day before. So that means if they drove 40 kilometres on day 1, they would have driven 80 kilometres on day 2 because they're driving 40 kilometres more than the day before. Okay? That's tricky to get your head round, but that's important in the question. So we want to know how many days it took them to complete the whole race. Okay? So if I were you here, I would probably convert to kilometres because there's more in the question in kilometres than there is in miles. You've only got one number here in miles, the rest is in kilometres. So if you convert to kilometres first, you can convert to miles if you like, and then work out how many days it took them to complete the whole race. Remember, by the end of the third day, they completed 1,800 kilometres. On day 4, they drove a further 600 kilometres, so that's your first step. So you want to work out how many kilometres they drove on day 4, by the end of day 4. So then after that, you can work out 40 plus 40 kilometres on each day to see how many days it took them. Pause the video now and have a go. Okay, let's have a look at the answers then. So on day 4, you've got 5,200 kilometres minus 1,800 kilometres is 3,400 kilometres. Okay, so that's how far they're driven by the end of day 3. So by the end of day 4, they've done 3,400 kilometres minus 600 kilometres because they've driven another 600 kilometres, which is 2,800 kilometres left. So I've counted down from my total. So 5,200 kilometres is roughly 3,250 miles. Okay, so I've started from there and I've taken away instead of adding, which is why I've taken 600 kilometres away instead of adding it on. So then day 5, we would have 2,800 kilometres minus 640 kilometres, because remember on each day that followed, they drove 40 kilometres further. So if they drove 600 kilometres on day 4, on day 5, they drove 640 kilometres, day 6, they drove 680 kilometres, day 7, they drove 720 kilometres, and day 8, they drove 760 kilometres. Okay, so you add in 40 each time to the amount that they've driven. So that means by the end of day 5, they've driven 2,160 kilometres. On day 6, you've got 2,160 kilometres minus 680 kilometres, which equals 1,480 kilometres left to drive. Okay, so by the end of day 6, they had 1,480 kilometres to drive. Day 7, they had 1,480 kilometres minus 720 kilometres, which equals 760 kilometres. So then they had 760 kilometres to drive by the end of day 7. On day 8, they've got 760 kilometres minus 760 kilometres equals 0 kilometres. So they completed the race by the end of day 8. So it took 8 days to complete the race. Well done if you got that one correct. That one was rather tricky. Okay, this is our last question now. So let's really try with this one. So the distance between Cardiff and London is 240 kilometres. Car is travelling at 60 mph. So remember, mph stands for miles per hour. So how long will it take them to get from London, to get to London from Cardiff? Okay, so we're working with different units of measure again here. So what you will need to do is you will need to convert first of all, and then you will need to work out how long it will take them to get from London to Cardiff. Okay, remember there are only 60 minutes in 1 hour. We're not working with 100, we're working with minutes. So 60 minutes in 1 hour, 60 seconds in a minute, and so on and so on. Okay, so we're not working with 100, we're working with 60. Pause the video now and have a go. Okay, let's have a look at the answers then. So 240 kilometres is equal to approximately 150 miles. So I'm going to work in miles because we drive in miles per hour in England. Okay, so 240 kilometres is approximately 150 miles. Then I'm going to divide 150 miles by 60 because we're travelling at 60 miles per hour. Okay, so then that would give me 2.5. So that means that it would take them 2 hours and 30 minutes to get to London from Cardiff. Well done if you got that one correct. Well done, Year 6. This is a really tricky concept and I think we've done really well at grasping it.